Have you ever found yourself thinking that the more you chase after a woman, the more distant she seems to become? Well, you're not alone. But what if I told you that the secret to reversing this dynamic is making her chase you instead? Today, we're going to unravel the art of leading strategic conversations that not only increase your value but also put you in control. We're not talking about cheap tricks or manipulation, but about mastering trigger questions that encourage, validate, and spark curiosity. Get ready to change the game and learn how small questions can lead to big results. Let's go. Before we start, make sure you're subscribed to the channel. If you're not, go ahead and hit that subscribe button and leave a like to support our work. In the comments, share your thoughts on the video, and if you'd like, suggest a topic for the next one. If chasing a woman guarantees losing her, the opposite is also true. Making her chase you is the secret to keeping her by your side. For older men, the most effective way to attract younger women is through strategic conversations. What really matters is not just what you say, but how you conduct the interaction. The key is to ask the right questions. When you master this, she ends up carrying most of the conversation, relieving the pressure off you. Today, we're going to change the game and explore how strategic questions can alter the power dynamic. Many men ask questions just to keep the conversation flowing, but that's like playing checkers when what you really want is to play chess. Each question should be a well-calculated move designed to make her chase you. But before we dive into the specific questions, let's understand why these trigger questions work, especially with younger women. Generally, men chase after women, which most of the time backfires. For a woman to feel compelled to pursue you, she needs a reason. Today, we'll look at 3 types of questions that encourage pursuit, each for a different reason. First, we have questions that establish a pattern, creating an incentive for her to follow. Next, we'll address questions that touch on validation, awakening her desire for your approval. Finally, we have questions that demonstrate authority, subtly revealing your value and confidence. These 3 triggers, incentive, validation, and value, are essential to turning the tables and making her chase you. But remember, this doesn't happen overnight. It's a gradual process where each question gradually fuels her interest. Let's start with the questions that establish patterns. If you want a woman to chase you, you need to give her something to follow. That is, establish what you expect from a relationship. For more experienced men, this should be easy. You already know what you're looking for in a partner. What you may not be doing effectively is communicating those standards. Most men fail to define their expectations, which allows women to set the rules, leading to a loss of interest on their part. Even men who feel comfortable expressing their standards often do so abruptly, which can disrupt the mood. A more subtle approach is to incorporate your standards into questions. For example, instead of saying, "I like smart women," you could ask, "What's the last interesting book you read?" Or, if you admire adventurous women, you might ask, "What's the most amazing place you've ever visited?" This type of question accomplishes 3 things. First, it communicates that you have standards, but in a subtle way. Second, it gives her something to respond to, encouraging her to pursue you. Even if she hasn't read a good book recently, the mere act of trying to answer shows that she's making an effort to meet your expectations. And what if she doesn't respond well? For instance, if she says she doesn't read, that's the perfect opportunity for a light, playful tease. Something like, "You don't read. How come?" This puts her a bit on the defensive in an appealing way and creates a healthy tension. Often, she might reply with something like, "Well, the last book I read was in school." Here, you can joke saying, "Ah, that makes sense. You just haven't found someone to show you the good books." This approach not only creates a fun interaction, but also positions you as someone who has valuable knowledge. She will end up curious, wanting to know what books you mentioned. When you ask, "What are those books?" even if it's in a skeptical tone, she is basically confirming that you have something she wants. That's the point. You are offering an incentive that will make her pursue you, sparking curiosity and interest. If you understand how to keep these incentives just out of reach, without completely denying them but postponing the answer, you'll have the secret to making her chase you. Each little tease increases her interest, and that's how you turn the tables. To generate a woman's interest effectively, it's essential to communicate your interest in the right way. If you overdo the compliments or come across as fawning, you'll give the impression of desperation, which kills any attraction or respect she might feel. Instead of complimenting something superficial, like her looks, validate her for something she has worked hard to achieve. This touches on a deeper, more authentic level, standing out from the empty compliments she has likely heard many times before. The key to validating someone correctly lies in paying attention to what she says. When she shares something important, you have the opportunity to acknowledge the effort behind it, creating a genuine connection. Women value meaningful validation far more than superficial comments. So, listen closely to discover how she wants to be validated. Let's illustrate this. Imagine that Joao is at a party and meets Anna, a woman he has seen before but never had the chance to talk to. During their conversation, Anna mentions that she loves to travel. Joao seizes the opportunity and asks what her most memorable trip has been and why. Excited, Anna talks about her trip to Italy, describing how much she loved the culture, the food, and the people. Instead of just keeping the conversation superficial, Joao says he knows some places she would love, but it would be more interesting to share them after they get to know each other better. He then asks what else she enjoys doing besides traveling. With this approach, Joao not only keeps Anna curious but also engages her authentically, showing genuine interest in her passions and experiences. The key point here is that Joao validated Anna for something she truly values, not just for her appearance. This makes her feel understood and creates a deeper bond between them. Well-applied validation isn't about flattery, it's about recognizing what is significant to the other person. Another powerful way to generate attraction is to demonstrate authority subtly. When you have mastery over a certain subject, especially if it's something that interests the woman, it piques her interest. However, instead of flaunting that knowledge, the key is to convey it discreetly through smart questions. For example, Joao meets Maria in a bar and finds out she works as an editor for a fashion magazine. Instead of simply stating that he also works in the field, he asks a specific question that demonstrates his knowledge. Are you a full editor or an editorial assistant? This question makes Maria laugh and open up, impressed with how Joao demonstrated his knowledge subtly without boasting. These examples show that you can stand out in interaction by asking strategic questions that validate and show authority. Instead of following the predictable flow of a conversation, you create a dynamic where she feels challenged and curious. This not only increases attraction, but also makes her want to know more about you. To conclude, it's important to remember that mastering this technique requires practice and attention to detail. With each conversation, observe the cues she gives you and use that information to ask questions that validate her and demonstrate your knowledge intelligently. By doing this, you not only differentiate yourself from other men, but also create a deeper and more authentic connection. If you enjoyed these tips, don't forget to like, subscribe to the channel, and share the video with your friends who might also benefit from it. Leave your comments below, and keep honing these skills to achieve more genuine and attractive interactions. Until the next video,